So I usually flow without stopping. But because I want to get several points across, as I stand in the backyard of one of the childhood homes I grew up in, my grandparents' house, now owned by my mom. I was born on my grandmother's birthday, May 6th, which is today's date. My grandmother would have been 100 years old today, and I miss her very much. Well, you see, she's one of the main reasons why I was able to pursue my love of film, because she took me to see movies when I was not 18 that were rated R, and she would watch them with me at home here in this house. When I discovered Steven Soderbergh as a young man, his movies changed my life. My password still for numerous things is actually traffic, TRAFFIC. You see, I never understood so many things in life until I lived the last 2 years of my life. And James Crane, I'm directing this at you, out front and center. One, it'll be a receipt for what God, the Creator, has done in my life. If this does not move forward in the manner of what I'm just simply requesting with a meeting. But two, I've come to understand that God sprinkles breadcrumbs throughout our life for us to follow things at some point. And you see, the way you speak about the industry, there's nobody else in entertainment, screw Hollywood, period, that understands and has their finger on the pulse in the manner you do. It's why Michael Sugar brought you in. I don't know if it was him, but it's why Sugar23 brought you in to their company. I got to meet Mr. Soderbergh when I went to a screening of King of the Hill. Pictures on the screen right now, many years ago. It's before I realized God was walking me into my path that I was going down. Because you see, I pursued a directing career in Hollywood and moved out there following in his footsteps. There were two gods for me in my teenage years, Soderbergh and Spielberg, S&S. I wrote a song and produced it recently called S&S, but it stands for Sydney and Sam, the man and woman that walked me into the creator life that I now have without even realizing it was happening. In the picture, Soderbergh's got a smart water bottle, Glasso, Coca-Cola. The creator of the world that is designed that we all occupy, like Kanye West says. We're all living a script. My script has been batshit crazy. In the last 2 years of my life, and James Crane, I know you're not dumb. I know you don't just follow somebody like you did our Big Picture World group page, so I'll do research, but you can't come out and even send a message or even say anything about it because you had to wait. I know how this works with downloads till the timing was aligned. I really raised $13.6 billion. There's a Delaware Chancery court case and receipts of that case to attest to that fact. I led that bid forward. I led it forward with my ex-fiance and my ex-business partner, the forever love of my life, who I know will never be in it, even if she sees this, unless I become wealthy. And that's only up to God. And I never really did any of this for the money. I didn't do it for the fame. I didn't do it for the notoriety. I did it because nobody in Hollywood would ever let me make a studio movie, man. I struggled for 20 years as an independent film producer, something I never even wanted to be, but you see, I lost sight of my dreams. Truly, none of this is fake. This is all real, man. I had a dream to direct. I had a dream to create. I had a dream to write. I wrote things when I was younger. I made a short film here in my hometown of Ocala for the Hollywood Video Vegas like film festival initiative where when you were an employee of Hollywood Video, which I was at 16, you could make a short and get a trip to Vegas. I didn't get the trip to Vegas, but it was the first thing I ever wrote and directed. Starred my best friend, Jordan Johnson, who's still in my life and one of the main partners in this. In the last 6 months of my life, I made 6 albums with the band that I put together. I wrote every track. I told the story of the last several years of my life. And prior, I wrote 2 books. One of them's a poetry book on Donald Trump. The other one is a book called Invisible Mirrors, because we're all mirrors to each other, and usually it's invisible what you're looking into. You don't see it's a mirror. It's called The Life and Death of William Clevenger, a character I played. Because my last name's not even really Clevenger, it's Reed. I have a ex-abusive biological father who abused my mom, owes over $100,000 child support to me, so I changed my name, took my mother's name, my grandmother's name, my grandfather's name, my uncle who told me I couldn't walk in the same waters as David Ellison. Oh, I did a lot more than walk in them. You see, David Ellis is not a creator. He's a trust fund child. I'm not going to knock that anymore, but at the end of the day, he's never created anything. He walked in a path that his father created for him. I walked in a path that God, the creator, created for me. And you see, I took David Ellison and the Ellison family, and I made them the villains in a story connected to America's oldest private black boarding school. Hundreds of artists, Grammy winners, Oscar winners, Tony winners, Emmy winners. I took down corporate billboards to connect the Ellisons' legacy to all of this. And I literally peed all over the proverbial tree that is Paramount by launching the branded ecosystem that I've created connected to Coca-Cola, Glasso, Smartwater, Soderbergh, to the Ellison family, the Emmys, where my business partner, Troy DeVold, passed away at the end of 2024. He was nominated for Emmys. He was memorialized the night that I got arrested. James Crane, I know how to build a branded business. I know how to lead. I know how to create. Most importantly, I know how to take the design of the signs from whoever and whomever put us on this earth and connect it all together for a greater good than myself. But you see, I finally, because this whole time I was just creating movies, screenplays for feature films. I hadn't done anything in television until the last 2 months. On the journey to buy Paramount, through my friend Garson Silvers, I met a pastor by the name of Samuel Harris, who lived a life like me when he was younger, was redeemed in God the Creator's eye, and his son's a music prodigy, was signed to Matthew Knowles' label as a young man, starred in a Paramount movie also. But Sam introduced me to his partner, a guy by the name of Don Bennett. And I'm not going to get long-winded for a change, because I don't have to, because I went to New Jersey last March after going to New York to meet Malka Equities so they could put a face with the name and the voice of who led Malka Equities to being at the table to make an offer to buy Paramount that, while it was suppressed, was very real. Even if it was in after a shopping window, which it was not, it was really $13.6 billion. You see, that deal for me started as being part of a group, bringing in a piece of the full offer. And when the piece of the full offer I brought in, which started at $2.6 billion, went to have a meeting in New York City, and I believe it was either JP Morgan or Charles Schwab, and the partners from Malka, who I'd only met one of them at the time, CJ O'Connor, sat down in this meeting and got into the due diligence of the deal. they realized that Daphne Zimon's funding was not real. And my 2.6 billion that I brought in became 13.6, the full offer. I, by myself, even though I had partners that pushed me along the road, connected the spider web of dots together through a 20-year A-list at the end. My legacy's connected to RZA and the Wu-Tang Clan. How many people have made movies with RZA as producers? Let's see. Paul Hall, Quentin Tarantino, Eli Roth, Reggie Hudlin, William Potter Clevenger. I'm talking lead producer. Sean Elliott, I love you, but I'm taking my power back. I raised $13.6 billion. I met Don Bennett, I met Sam Harris, and I went to New York in March of last year before I even knew I was going to build a music business. And while you're going to watch this broadcast I've made that's over 40 hours long, launching multiple foundations, where each foundation has 15 to 24 hours of content behind it, specifically tailored with testimony to each one of those verticals, you're going to see footage of Don Bennett. So this is the first thing where I'm not putting in any screenshots of anybody else, any footage of anybody else. It's just me talking to you, James Crane, and to you, Michael Sugar, the manager of somebody who I used to idolize and now I want to be standing next to. Because Don Bennett represents Henry Vaccaro, who I've made a podcast on with footage and pictures of us together. And Henry battled the Jackson Estate Corporation. And in that battle, which I've created a vision to make a documentary on, James and Mr. Sugar, Mr. Crane too, until I meet you, created an overview based on a news report in Jersey, Asbury Park, where Henry built the city and Johnny Cash was his best friend. I take it back. I'm putting one thing on the screen. The book that he wrote on his friendship with Johnny Cash, like I have one with RZA. You see, Henry's now part of the book that I wrote. RZA's part of the book that I wrote. James Crane, because you accepted my follow request on Instagram, you're part of the book I wrote. Anybody in Hollywood that I met, including Mr. Soderbergh, over a 20-year career, is part of the book that I wrote. The book that I wrote on being the motherfucker that raised $13.6 billion to buy Paramount. And I say that humbly. God, I'm sorry for swearing, but nobody has been listening to me. That's why it's called Invisible Mirrors. A few people have, like Don Bennett, Sam Harris, who's a pastor, of course, and several other iconic artists that have won industry accolades. You see, the reason also why I like Sugar23, you guys have an overall deal at Netflix, who would own Warner Brothers, had my group, led by artists, because I am one, acquired Paramount. So that being said, I created a making of TV series on the entire creation and the exit from Motown to Epic Records and CBS of the Jackson 5 variety series that CBS and Paramount does not own, but Henry Vaccaro does, who's not a film producer, like I played for 20 years. Only now, I'm not just a producer, because I'm always going to be one, because I played it better than maybe anybody in the fucking world, because I'm the one without daddy's checkbook that put together billions of dollars while I was homeless. Yeah, homeless, raised billions. Walked it because I believed it, because I had faith in it and myself. I have written a pilot. I have created a 170-page series Bible. I have written full treatments, 5 to 7 pages each one, for a boiler room-esque behind-the-scenes look at the infrastructure that was a system that the Jacksons were put in that ultimately Jermaine did not follow, and it put Michael out front and center with snippets of what you'd see ultimately that Janet would become. It primarily takes place at CBS, the Jacksons' home. Of course, there's the stuff when they went on hiatus mid-season and then came back and shot the Red Fox episode. But while they finished their album at Epic and then toured to launch it. It also follows Jermaine staying behind at Motown. I want to cast Shameik Moore as Jermaine Jackson. I've already been in touch with him. Last time I checked, Michael's daughter, who is part of the estate and doesn't like him very much, and the estate doesn't own this. So I just need to pay life rights, like they did on the Jackson movie, to the entire Jackson 5. LaToya, Janet, all of them. Not the ones that got left out of Michael's biopic. But you see, because Moneyball is a comparable IP to what I'm doing, even though it's baseball and sports, gotta have the mindset of a musician. If you're an athlete, it's kind of the same stuff. I know because I was both. Not a musician, although I am now. I'm a poet. But you see, the vision that I have, especially after reading so much about this John Lennon biopic, to direct the TV series that I've created, because I wrote it with the mindset that he would direct it, because I realized going into television, I don't actually want to direct what I created. I want what I created based on IP that Henry Vaccaro owns, who will get a sole EP credit. That's part of the deal on this. And Don Bennett, and Sam Harris, and Oscar nominee David Womark, $3 billion box office producer Larry Franco, iconic fashionista and A-list actress, always. Fuck all you in Hollywood, Jamie King, Grammy winner Jay Ivey, Emmy winner Lamorne Morris, former agent turned manager producer Joey Stanton, lover boy TJ, whose best friend is Chris Brown, who I want involved in the music on this, Johnny May, Tim's mother, my brother Jeff Schiffman, who's my AD. There's a few EPs on this, plus the Jackson family, because they're going to get paid, because I know I'm setting on the biggest IP currently existing in Hollywood. But I didn't do it in Hollywood. I did it in Ocala, Florida. And I got a lot more than just this IP. But I want Steven Soderbergh to direct all episodes of it. I'm the producer of what I created. I'm attaching other producers because I created it. And it's rooted also with John Schneider, Rob's brother. Rob Schneider, stop talking shit about homeless people, because I was one. You has been. And your brother, I know he didn't talk to you for years. And John, I get it. Regardless of your guys' relationship now, I have a voice, so I'm using it. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I'm an independent party that will knock all of you silly if you get out of line in front of me. Gavin Newsom, stop playing the Joker. John Schneider is a producer on this as well. You see, I'm going to make this television series, and then I'm going to direct a movie. But I don't even want to talk about the movies anymore. Oh, wait, that's not true, because on May 15th, in just a few days, it's the anniversary of when the Bird made his Major League debut. The reason why I don't want to direct the TV series that I created by myself. Oh. It's because I want to direct the biopic on Mark the Bird Fitterich simultaneously while this show is prepping, because I just named award-winning producers, so I don't have to do those duties. And I picked out all the writers for the writer's room, in addition to my friend Jason Gilmore and Brandon McGee, who I want to have in there, and others that will be unveiled. I have this loaded, and yes, it's top heavy, but last time I checked, it has the name Jackson in it, and I created it, and I'm the only creator in the world that raised $13.6 billion. And again, I say all this in no ego, because all of that, and I'm going to give 33% of whatever I get paid for the series I created to Pinewood School that is 116 years old and was the core vision behind the offer to buy Paramount, but it was never supposed to be about Paramount, because all these things I got led to in trying to buy Paramount, I could have put into the studio that I had already partnered with Pinewood School to build before Paramount ever became a reality. So I'm done even talking about Paramount, especially since I wrote a book about it all. And if anybody wants to test my writing, just go buy the book I wrote on Donald Trump. And I have business partners that when I'm the one that can change their lives, because Rocco Nugent is part of the writer's room as well and is going to act in this. Last time I checked, I got people directly connected to Donald Trump that are going to show up and stand next to me on a stage. Joey Stanton has repped me to get me to the end. But he and I have a business to run that he knew I would finish building. I want to be repped at the same management firm because I don't ever want to have an agent, because I don't like agents. I know we have to work with them for now until what I built is fully funded by whatever billionaires show up. Does this sound like somebody who's not confident in what they fucking created? Sorry for swearing, Mom. I promise I'll stop soon. Today's my birthday and it's my coming out party. I'm also bisexual. I have flopped between saying gay and bi, but I still want to be married to only one woman. And until we're both dead, I will have those dreams. If she dies or I die, then I'm gay. But I want to be repped at Sugar23. I want to be repped by James Crane in the advertising world and Michael Sugar for all of my television and feature film directing endeavors. So I can fulfill a dream I had as a young man when I knew damn well who Michael Sugar was, because I have followed in the footsteps of one of my three heroes, Steven Soderbergh. I had three favorite directors as a kid. Spielberg first, then Soderbergh, and then when I saw American History X, Tony Kaye. And well, I'm going to lead into this entire broadcast with showing you guys how that hero of mine, Tony Kaye, turned up, because he fucking sat next to me at the dinner where I closed $13.6 billion to make an offer to buy Paramount. And now Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. We about to fucking rise together. Tony Kaye is the greatest artist of this generation. Kiss my ass if you don't agree with me, because my opinion finally matters.
Thank you. I have two color cameras. I have two color cameras in my head. I am spinning around the sun. I have consciousness. I know what is happening. This constant daily miracle. This thing called life. Use it. you ooze it, you ooze it, you ooze it, you ooze it. Kaleidoscope, kaleidoscope, rotoscope, misanthrope, phonoscope, no pokey-lope, rope-a-dope, hope, hope, hope is not a dream. Hope is what I M-E-A-N, M-E-A-N. I'm just thinking out loud. I'm just thinking out loud, and there's no cloud to stop me, stop me. It would seem hope is not a dream. I'll just hop on the back of the gusty blowing winds, float, sail, swim, torpedo, manipulate, maneuver, uptown, down, down, downstream. Hope is not a dream. It's so easy, it's said and done. Just make sure you learn how to walk before you run. Life can sometimes seem like an endless maze, twists and turns, lows and delays. Hope is not a dream. 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 But cry no more these tears tonight, or make them happy ones. Tears of laughter, ha ha ha. Cut the bullshit and the blah 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 blah. Hope is not a dream. From the heart unto the sea, touching on the way every extremity, it sits in waiting in my soul, and it never stops, not at all. Let's make sadness a ghost from the past, then it will not linger, neither will it last. These are the truths that we must not ignore. I wrote them, scratched them, carved them, painted them upon my wall, and they're worth fighting for. Hope is not a dream. Hope is not a dream. Hope is not a dream. And you must know by now just exactly what I mean.
Yeah!
Bravo! Yeah! That'll way, Tony.
Hope is not a dream. Tony K, ladies and gentlemen.
What do you think, Jim?
That was beautiful, Tony.
That was
Look,
beautiful.
I stand by what I said. That was awesome.
New York has it down. As soon as they freeze to death, you don't have to call them homeless, you just call them frozen dead people. Yes. Homesicles. Homesicles.
Corpsicle.
Corpsicle.
Wow.
How about you buy, maybe everybody at Skid Row a one-way ticket to Thailand? That also gets them out of town. Or make the homeless people in Skid Row fight like gladiators. Entertain us. Do something big and bold.
Those junkies out on the sidewalk, those are, for the most part, bad people.
Wow.
Okay, these are bad people. The only solution is to round them up by force, treat homelessness as a crime.
Yeah, I've been long saying they shouldn't have the freedom to live in the streets. Take the freedom away from them. Put them in internment camps 100 miles away from cities.
Give the homeless what they want. Move it out onto government property and let them run it. Give them the autonomy to truly run their lives into the ground, harm each other, don't harm us anymore. So federally funded opium dens where the homeless can kill each other. And I volunteer as mayor. I will be mayor of Opium Town. I feel like you could take every single homeless person in a city, put them in one location, and pay security to keep everybody safe for a lot less than that, whether it's New York, LA, any city, town in America.
Y'all done lost your damn mind.
I say we all scare them into a bunker, cut the power, lock them the fuck in.
Oh yeah, and I almost forgot, but of course God the Creator reminded me. Bruce D. Long, with it being Tony noms and all, who won, 4 Tony Awards, like for Memphis, the musical, who walked me through all this, is also a producer on this IP. And this is my dad, Jerry.
My son, William.
And you see, he's a music aficionado, like my friend Jeff Schiffman. And him and my mom fell in love during the period that the Jacksons were becoming the Jackson 5.
Yeah.
And Jerry has a dream to write. And he and I together...
I'm working on something. It's going to come out physically pretty soon. It's all mentally right now.
And I get that over the last 6 months of my life. But another writer in the writer's room so he can see how Hollywood works and what his son has been through for 20 years, but has shifted all around. And now I'm with Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, Tony winners, and A-listers, and hopefully rep by Sugar23 with my hero, Steven Soderbergh, directing it. He's in the writer's room for this as well, even if he's got to be remote for it. But I'd like to throw a little curveball. Since I created the series, this isn't going to be set up and created in Hollywood. I'm bringing everybody to Ocala, Florida. That's my stipulation for moving forward. Don and Henry will agree, because everybody gets to walk around the land that I created an ecosystem blueprint around, where the new movie studio, TV studio, entertainment mecca of the freaking world is going to be built after God moves this forward finally. And I'm pretty sure that's now, because I'm turning 42. That's my Jackie Robinson year. I'm 42, and I just changed my life, and he's going to be there to witness it, and I want my mom to see it all. James Crane, you better call me. I'm putting my number on the screen because I changed it to 352, and I don't quite have it memorized yet. And I usually memorize everything because I don't script anything, and I am a creation of God like none of you have ever seen before because of what I lived in that hellhole that is Hollywood. And Melissa Berra, I will support you any day of the week. I'd love to cast you in this. You are uncanceled. Spyglass, I went after another S of a production company called Skydance. Don't make me come after Spyglass. Uncancel this woman because the Ellisons are evil. Netanyahu is literally a war criminal. I am not anti-Semitic. Ask my friend Barry Meinster about that because I was funded by a proud supporter of Israel. But I am sick of the war. I am sick of Trump. And all I want to do is make shit. See you soon, James Crane, Michael Sugar.
God bless him.
Mamo, I love you.
I love you, William.
I love you, Pops.
I love your mom.
Mom, I love you. Uncle Sid, I love you. Everybody that helped me walk in a change in my life. Amen. You know who you are. Amen. Creator blessings to all of you. Thank you. Yes. And happy birthday to me.
Birthday blessing for
All right, I've got my Bible here, and I'm ready to read to you absolutely every book of the Bible that was written by someone who had met Jesus. We can go ahead and skip the Hebrew Bible since Jesus wasn't alive when that was written, and go straight to the New Testament. You ready? Not a single word. There is not one book of the Bible that was written by someone who had met Jesus. Yes, some of the Gospels are attributed to Jesus' disciples, but scholars agree that they didn't write them. They were written decades after Jesus' death. The earliest Gospel that we have in the New Testament is the Gospel of Mark, and it was probably written around 70 of the Common Era. The attribution of those Gospels to disciples didn't happen for many years. They also don't read like eyewitness accounts and don't even claim to have been written by the disciples. Paul's letters weren't written by someone who had met Jesus. Paul, by his own admission, had never met Jesus. And even that great narrative we have about Saul encountering the risen Christ on the road to Damascus is something that the author of Luke Acts, the same author wrote both the Gospel of Luke and the book of Acts, It's something that he invented for the narrative. Paul never makes a mention of that, and surely if he had encountered the risen Christ, he would have mentioned it. All of the other epistles in the Bible are later, and the book of Revelation is later. None of those authors had ever met Jesus. Now, some people argue that since Jesus is the Word of God, Jesus was involved in the creation of the entire Bible. But that's a theological argument that there doesn't seem to be much evidence for. And certainly, historically, we can prove that none of the Bible was composed by people who had met Jesus. So I think that means we need to approach the biblical text with a bit of humility. And we also need to approach the sayings of Jesus with some humility too, because it means that not every saying attributed to Jesus originated with him.
You guys ready?
Yeah. Ready.
Red Lobster, here we come.
Go on the outside of the right here.
Mixture of both of these. Okay.
Both? Okay. Lime, lemon, water.
Yep, and then I want the salmon New Orleans.
That's what I'm getting.
You are? Oh, with or the two sides I want. Right. Is the hush puppies and the broccoli.
And the broccoli.
Yep.
What are you thinking, darling?
What are you getting to drink, Mom?
I'm gonna have raspberry iced tea, please. I can do that.
And then I'm gonna do a cherry Coke.
I don't have cherry. I have.
Can you do grenadine? Like
I
put
do, but is
grenadine?
it okay if Pepsi?
Yeah, Pepsi's fine.
Pepsi
I've been
grenadine?
drinking Pepsi and Coke lately.
Perfect.
And
what do you want
and then I'm gonna do the salmon New Orleans.
Same exact thing?
Yeah, and then can I do a fully loaded baked potato?
Loaded baked.
And the crispy Brussels sprouts.
Those are good. Have the crispy Brussels sprouts.
And I'm good.
Okay, I'd like to get the fresh grilled salmon. Fresh grilled salmon.
There's actually a reason why I picked Red Lobster for my birthday. My grandmother and I, and my family in general, used to come here on holidays when I was growing up. There's also, and it's not in the documentary. No, it's not true. It is. I also came here with my ex-fiance when she came back to Ocala to meet my family after we got engaged. She was wearing this amazing pink jacket that we found in New Orleans. Tonight I ordered salmon, New Orleans salmon, to finish this story. Because I'm changed in a lot of ways. You see, I have created a podcast called Acts of God, Yin and Yang on Love Street, hosted by myself and Tommy Bina and one other person, because he's going to fill in for who was supposed to host it. On God, Allah, Rizza, whatever you believe in, because Power was going to do this with me once a month in New York, once a month at Pineywood School, and twice a week, health permitting, even if he had a video in, at the Canyon Country store before Tommy Bina lost it, and down on Venice Beach where I built all this, and he used to come and sit on mine and Sid's couch and calm me down at why I couldn't understand, Rizzo, why you would connect with me on things like asking me to produce 1 spoon of chocolate and then not follow through on the intentions when I helped put you in the position to even do that. Respectfully, man, I love you to death. This is not me attacking you. Made music about you. Made music about Power. It's out. Came out 2 days before P died, man. P People are going to hear a podcast with my boy Danny Sonnenberg, who I met through Power. But you see, I understand why RZA, who's the ultimate creator that I've ever met in my life, he's an icon. Now in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame on Sid's birthday, November 14th. Music, film, fashion, all of the above. Few people have walked a life on planet Earth in the manner as Robert Fitzgerald Diggs. But I understand why RZA is a vegan. I'll never forget on Cutthroat City, we had to make arrangements for him. I'm going to keep that private so he actually shows up. He doesn't go, because you said I'm not. But I'll never forget driving him around, having conversations, having an act of God happen, almost getting hit by a car. That was a moment that bonded us. When you go through trauma with somebody, it changes your life, directly connects you to that person. When you make art with that person, that's called a legacy created by the world that we live in that lasts forever, until the day that I'm dead and no longer on this earth. And 300 years from now, when people look up the Wu-Tang Clan and they find RZA's name, they'll see Cutthroat City. You see, my name lasts forever now. So does Sean, so does Elliot, so does the cast of that movie. Power sit on my couch when I was venting to him about why RZA wasn't calling me and following through. A couple weeks before I got led to Pineywood School, you see, God had other plans for me. It wasn't to be on set. The day that RZA started filming that movie was the day I met Will Crossley with Larry Franco. I used to literally have things happen in my life, and I would blame people for those things, not understanding that we're led in different positions, and if we try to control those positions, we react to them, we just create trauma, like I did at so many points in time in my life. But I was watching the Lord of the Flies TV series last night, and I cried when they killed the pig for the first time. My heart's changed, man. I'm here at Red Lobster, run by a 37-year-old CEO. Seafood restaurants in general, I know there's no way to eat lobster without killing them, but there's humane ways to do it. Bayo, I believe your name is. Regardless, I realized I can't really eat meat or even fish anymore. All these things are created by God. My mom was just killing a bunch of flies in the car. God created those. The devil didn't. You see, we are the devil. We walk into sin. And while sin's created by the Creator, it's the story of Adam and Eve, man. It's the first thing we're taught, right? This is the last time I'm going to eat meat. I started eating salad. As much as I love it, chicken, protein, all of it, this shit's it's not okay. And I'm not doing this for views or clicks. I'm not doing this to get RZA's attention. I get it. Power became one of my best friends. I've known RZA longer than I knew P. Met them both through acts of God, because even Cutthroat City, man, the movie's about a hurricane, an act of God. So because RZA and I and our legacies are forever connected through something that was an act of God, just like I met Power in a parking lot through an act of God, that's why it was called this, I am humbly on my knees, Bobby, asking you to finally pick up the bat phone where the producer of multiple Batman movies is standing next to me, and show up to co-showrun a series on the Jackson 5 creation, because I have a movie I got to go direct in the same way you did, that it would fulfill the dream of mine having Quentin Tarantino Presents next to my name. But God instead walked me into helping elevate and elongate the legacy of America's oldest black boarding school, where this is the forever documentary seat that I'm humbly asking you to host a podcast there at least once a month, if not once a week with me, to fulfill what Power and I were going to do with the legacies that God gave both of us, him with creating the Wu-Tang brand and me with creating Cutthroat City and the path that I walked you into to direct the movie. And that is on God until the day that both you and I are dead and it becomes our legacies. On the screen, I said I wasn't putting anything, but here's the series created that changes Tommy Bina's life, who was the gatekeeper of legacy and art for 44 years. And had RZA picked up the phone at any point in time since I contacted him last November, maybe Tommy Bina wouldn't have lost the Canyon Country Store. I wouldn't have lost Paramount. But hey, ego's a hell of a drug. Across the parking lot, I met Power the way truth usually shows up in my life. Unannounced, unplanned, already watching. I had made Cutthroat City with RZA, but I had never met him. I had been around Wu-Tang spaces, Wu-Tang energy, Wu-Tang history, but never Power. Then one day, back when I still smoked, I walked out of a cannabis shop in Inglewood wearing a Wu-Tang t-shirt. Across the parking lot, outside the liquor store, a man sitting by his car called me out loud, certain like he knew me. It was Olive Power Grant. Think about that for a second. The man who invented the Wu-Tang logo sees thousands of Wu-Tang shirts in his lifetime. That day, he stopped me. He knew who I was before he knew I had just produced a film directed by RZA, before there was any reason to connect the dots. That moment had nothing to do with credentials. It had everything to do with alignment. What followed wasn't a Wu-Tang relationship. It was something much deeper, something quieter, an act of God. Power became one of my closest friends on this journey. Not because of the clan, but because of the walk that we built together. We wrote together. We talked about business, legacy, fashion, truth. He didn't just connect me to history. He walked with me while I was building my own history. RZA created that group. He created the sound. He created the words. He's the architecture of connection. But the brand, the symbol, the logo, that became a flag for generations, and that came from Power. And somehow that same man walked beside me through the pursuit of Paramount, building Big Picture World Group, side by side, day by day, coast to coast. One day he asked me what I thought of agents. I told him I felt like they needed to go away. No hesitation, and he agreed. That's how I knew we were always speaking the same language. I've only seen 2 movies with Power in my life, just 2. We saw The Creator together before I knew I was going to become one, and we saw Civil War together before I knew America would stand on the edge of one. That's not coincidence. That's positioning. I became a creator at the exact moment the world began fracturing in public. And walking that stretch with Power tells me something very important, that I'm nearing the end of one journey and the beginning of another. Not an ending, but a crossing. Power isn't just part of my past and my story. He's a forever brother, forever business partner, a witness to my walk, someone who didn't enter my life through fame or access or even film, but through recognition and God. Sometimes legacy doesn't tap you on the shoulder in a boardroom. Sometimes it calls your name across a parking lot and waits to see if you'll walk over. I met legacy before I met history. I met the logo before the lesson. I met the man before the myth. I made a movie with the architect of sound, but I never met the hand that drew the crown. Been around the symbols, been around the flame, but never shook the palm that signed the name. Inglewood sun, concrete, breathing heat, Wu-Tang shirt hanging loose on me. Walking out the shop with yesterday's smoke when a voice cut the air like a prophet's joke. Across the lot, liquor store light, sitting by his car, middle of life. He called me out like he already knew, before credits, before proof. He didn't see a shirt, he didn't see a brand, he saw a walk, he saw the man. Across the parking lot, legacy called my name that day. Didn't know my resume, didn't know my fame. Logo of a generation looked me in the face and said, I see you in the middle of grace. Across the parking lot, God makes introductions. Before the contracts, before the assumptions. That wasn't chance, that was not luck, but that was an act of God lining us up. RZA built the temple, built the sound, built the words that shook the ground. But the symbol, the flag, that mark stayed. That came from power's hand drawn in faith. And somehow that man walked with me through broken deals and big beliefs, through paramount dreams, failures, and quiet days, through building worlds that nobody could see. We didn't talk clan. We didn't flex. We talked truth, and we talked what's next. Fashion sketches, writers' rooms, faith conversations under new moons, not tied by history, not bound by names, just two men walking the same flame. Across the parking lot, legacy chose a path. Before the winds, before the math. Didn't come through power, didn't come through fear. Came through timing, abundantly crystal clear. Across the parking lot, heaven made a call. No gatekeepers, no protocol. Just two souls saying yes to the road before the story was ever told. He asked me once what I thought of agents. I said they gotta go. They dilute the language. No pause, no pushback, no debate. He nodded like, yeah, man, that tracks with fate. We only saw two films side by side. Didn't know they were the mirrors of the ride. The creator played before my eyes, before I knew the title was mine. Then Civil War, it flickered on the screen, before the country split at the seams. Now we're living in the scenes that we saw, art becoming law. I love you, bro, very much. I became a creator at the edge of collapse, building while the ground starts cracking in half. And power walked with me, not for the shine, but for the truth, and in it for the long design. Across the parking lot, brotherhood was born, not in boardrooms, not in storms. Legacy didn't shout, it spoke low, said, walk with me, we're almost home. Across the parking lot, I heard the call, not the end of the road, just the final wall. If this is the last bend before the light, I'm glad that he was always there for my fight. Some people enter your life through doors, some through contracts, some through history, and some call your name across a parking lot and walk with you the rest of the way. Forever brother, forever partner, forever aligned, forever an act of God.
So why are more and more brands starting to produce movies and television instead of advertising and sponsorships? And it's simple. It's because brand will actually matter more than ever in the age of AI, and that emotional equity is about to become the most powerful currency in business. Just think about it. We're all going to live in a world where we have an AI agent, and we're going to tell that agent on the drop of a dime, hey, order me toothpaste, book me a trip, buy me this. And if you're not top of mind and you don't have that emotional equity with the consumer, then you're just going to be forgotten, right? AI is going to bypass you. The consumer is going to forget all about you because they're going to go for the cheapest, most efficient option that AI will provide them. So if you're not top of mind with the brand, you're going to be forgotten. And right now we're entering the emotion economy. The emotion economy is beginning, and the attention economy is ending. And emotion comes from storytelling, culture, identity, characters, worlds people actually want to join. And that's why entertainment matters more than ever for brands, because movies, series, docs, podcasts, experiences, this isn't marketing anymore. It's brand infrastructure, because when AI chooses the products for us, only brands with emotion survive the algorithm, right? Emotion is better than price. Emotion is better than convenience. Emotion is better than AI. And if you want to truly win the next decade as a brand, you need to build worlds, tell stories, create meaning, and become culture. Because once automation takes over, emotion is the last competitive edge left. And that's why we're going to head into a golden age of entertainment, because more and more brands will be financing vehicles, producers, telling great stories, and that will lead to more opportunity for everybody, from artists to distributors to the world at large. And that's what's happening right now, and I talk about it all in my new Substack, and the link is in my bio.
Free the lobsters. Free the lobsters. Hey, RFK Jr., I'm going to open this entire thing to give the world a taste of what's coming as the release of the Share Coke with Will and Friends platform launches. I've made music about all the puppets that stand on a power stage led by Donald Trump. And you see, this time a year ago when I was here and you were running in the election, well, I supported you once upon a time. I sat on a bench and talked about one of the reasons why I got baptized, Robert, was because the way you talked about God. But you're doing things that are causing just as much harm as a leader that the free world elected. And you see, you couldn't get elected president. You're not even a leader. You're a trust fund little baby like David Ellison. And I got a problem with that. And I made a song about it, gave a spoken word performance about it. And guess what? There's like 30 more tracks after this on Rubio, Vance, Gabbard, and a lot of them on Trump. Fuck you, RFK Jr. And Mom, I promise I'm going to try to never say that word again, except for when I'm in an auditorium with 40,000 people and they're all singing my songs. Borrowed Flame, that's about RFK Jr., who I was president of the United for America Super PAC once Tory Gamble took it over and helped me raise $13.6 billion to buy Paramount from his mansion in Pacific Palisades. Fuck you, RFK Jr. Using God to get people on your side. Shame on you. This one's for RFK Jr. called Borrowed Last Name, Empty Hands, live from Ocala, Florida. Some people inherit names. Others inherit responsibility. You try to inherit power without carrying either. You ran on legacy, not a plan. Surname louder than where you stand. You talked revolution, talked crusade, but folded the minute that the math got played. You said you'd fight the machine of Trump, tell the machine stop calling back. Then suddenly compromise looked holy and proximity felt like a path. You couldn't beat the system that you blamed, so you tried to sit near the throne. Called it strategy, called it realism. I call it fear dressed up as grown. You don't drift towards power by accident. You lean when conviction's thin. You sold the fight when the numbers came in. Sold the truth just to stand near him. Legacy's not a last name loan. You don't get courage by association. You wanted the crown without the cost. So you align with what you said you'd lost. You talk about morals, talk about trust, talk about God. But your private life kept contradicting us. Public vows, private screens. Words that don't match what commitment to your wife means. You couldn't even betray clean. Left fingerprints in the phone. Not passion, not risk. Just reckless noise. A man still living for the clone. That there's now books written about your hedonistic affair that you didn't even have. And the wreckage you left never stopped echoing. Lives fractured long before the press from a barn. When people spiral in your wake, you don't get to call it stress. Can't believe you're a champion of recovery. Go fuck yourself, RFK Jr. History doesn't read intent. It reads impact over time. You sold the fight when the math got tight. Sold your distance for borrowed light. Trust isn't flexible. It breaks or stands. And you chose comfort over hands, especially children. You wanted relevance more than repair. So you chased the room instead of care. A movement isn't a costume, grief isn't collateral, and power doesn't cleanse contradiction just because you say it's personal. You wrap yourself in science, then faith, then fame when belief got late. Every pivot framed RFK as courage, every retreat called change. But change demands ownership, Bobby. Growth demands humility, and standing near power is not the same as accountability. You don't inherit integrity, RFK. You don't borrow spine. Names fade when choices don't align. You reach for influence, lost your core. Now history writes what you tried to ignore. You didn't lose the race. You abandoned the reason that you entered it. That's not strategy, that's surrender. Robert Kennedy Jr., fuck you too. And by the way, world, I'm saying that about a man that for a hot minute, I was president of the United for America Super PAC working to get RFK Jr. elected president of the United States till he decided to align himself with a sexual deviant predator by the name of Donald Trump, literally used children to get into the White House. And now I'm going to talk about it, and I made a song about it. And hey, Bobby Kennedy Jr., I'm forever connected to you, you fuck. Because literally Tory Gamble, who became the CEO of the super PAC behind you, after Zeke Hindle, who you were walking with when you announced your presidency for the United States of America, which I was such a firm believer of you because of how you talked about God, and then everything that I've seen you do since you withdrew from running for president and aligned yourself with Trump goes completely against everything that you talked about within your morals on this earth. So fuck you, because the two men that started the super PAC to get you elected literally partnered and aligned with me to get me fucking paramount. So fuck all of you. And by the way, Tory, I love you, but you said you had a problem with me talking about Trump. So if you still got a problem, Tory Gamble, with me talking about Trump, fuck you too. And hey, Zeke Hindle, I appreciate you taking care of my sweet, adorable, loving cat that you've had for over a year, which, yes, I gave him to you at one point. But once this all moves forward and I have a home again and I'm no longer walking out of hell, I would like to have my cat back, Zeke. I will also pay you money to get him back because my star is rising and I'm going to win a real Oscar one day. But God gave me one connected to my legacy for the rest of my life. And he's the sweetest, adorable little creature on earth. And I have a foundation called the Sleepy Cat Foundation, Zeke. And also, Oscar was never an outdoor cat. And I know you're allowing him to run around outdoors. And the only reason he's still alive is because God has a finish with him and I reuniting. Because I'm about to put my actual family back together. And it consisted of a dog, a cat, and the forever love of my life. And Zeke, if you don't, I will let the world know on one of my podcast episodes not only what Tory Gamble gave me that are receipts about you that your wife is not going to appreciate, but it will cement your legacy for the rest of time as it relates to your hedonistic behavior also. Goodbye.
Some people inherit names. Others inherit responsibility. You tried to inherit power without carrying either. Yeah. You ran on legacy, not a plan. So name louder than where you stand. Talk revolution, talk crusade. But folded the minute the math got played. You said you fight the machine till the machine stopped calling back. Then suddenly compromise looked holy and proximity felt like a path. You couldn't beat the system you blamed, so you tried to sit near the throne. Called it strategy, called it realism. I call it fear dressed up as grown. You don't drift toward power by accident. You lean when conviction's thin. You sold a fight when the numbers came in. Sold the truth just to stand near him. Legacy's not a last name loan. You don't get courage by association. You wanted the crown without the cost. So you align with what you said you lost. You talked about morals, talked about trust, but your private life kept contradicting us. Public vows, private screams, words that don't match what commitment means. You couldn't even betray clean. Left fingerprints in the phone. Not passion, not risk, just reckless noise. A man still living for the clone, and the record you left never stopped echoing. Lives fractured long before the press. When people spiral in your way, you don't get to call it stress. History doesn't read intent, it reads impact over time. You sold the fight when the math got tight. Sold your distance for borrowed light. Truth isn't flexible, it breaks or stands. And you chose comfort over hands. You wanted relevance more than repair, so you chased the room instead of care. Yeah. A movement isn't a costume, grief isn't collateral, and power doesn't cleanse contradiction just because you say it's personal. Yeah. You wrapped yourself in science, then faith, then fame when belief got late. Every pivot framed as courage, every retreat called change. But change demands ownership, growth demands humility, and standing near power isn't the same as accountability. You You don't inherit integrity, you don't borrow spine. Names fade when choices don't align. You reach for influence, lost your core. Now history writes what you tried to ignore. You didn't lose the race, you abandoned the reason you entered it. That's not strategy, that's surrender. Fuck you, Robert Kennedy Jr. Fuck you. Fuck you.
Oh yeah, and one last thing. Hey Sydney, you might recognize who was helping me take down those billboards, because he showed up one night at your loft in downtown LA damn near 7 years ago and told me to make magic with the investment that he put in both you and I. And boy, did we ever make some magic together this summer. You might know him by the name of, well, it starts with an R, but the world is gonna know him as Guy. One of the first investors in me, once Cutthroat City, debuted at #1 on Netflix. And hey Sid, you can't erase the truth of the path that people walk. And well, you and I only know this person through some dark waters that we had to walk into, and I walked us straight out of. I love you until the end of time, no matter what anybody else can say about that. Goodbye. I'll see you soon. Only this time, it's gonna be in New York City. And Mr. Joe Carnahan, I've loved you ever since your movie Blood, Guts, Bullets, and Octane. I'm dropping your Instagram in this and giving you a shout out. So hopefully you can literally help me knock down the Netflix doors if I don't get any response to all this, sir. I'm sending you a DM as well with a link to all of this. Peace. And Miss Natasha Leone, I believe you're friends with one of my best friends in the world, Jamie King. I've literally been an admirer of yours since really first discovering you in the slums of Beverly Hills. And I saw a quote recently where you said we need to have better systems in place for talking about our past and not feeling ashamed of it, etc. I built that with Big Picture World Group and the LoveOLution Movement. I'm dropping your face and your quote in this video as well, right after Joe Carnahan here. If we all unite together, artists around the world, art is a global language, has nothing to do with American politics. And that's why I built an international music business. Peace.
Saying Larry Ellison just became the most powerful man in America because of Daddy's little boy. This is Larry Ellison's son, David. He owns Skydance Media, the company that just merged with Paramount. Larry Ellison's son. Larry Ellison is the guy who owns Oracle Corporation, one of the largest computer software and cloud storage companies in the world, that he interestingly founded after working on a major project for the CIA to build a database that was codenamed Oracle. So that's weird. Ellison's company now provides data storage to OpenAI, the company behind ChatGPT. Oracle has a $500 billion partnered investment with OpenAI and SoftBank Group Corporation in 10 gigawatts of AI infrastructure in the United States over the next 4 years. So if we ask ChatGPT a question, the answer is very likely produced using data stored in Larry Ellison's company's database. In that cloud is data about everything. So Larry Ellison's becoming the AI data guy. He's a big tech billionaire who not only has a ton of power because of his own companies and investments, he has sway now through his sons too. David Ellison was meeting with the Trump administration to negotiate the huge merger between his company Skydance and Paramount, which also owns CBS. And no, South Park isn't the only show being affected. Notably, Stephen Colbert's show was canceled amidst the negotiations.
This is all just going away.
The FCC voted in late July to approve Paramount's $8.4 billion merger with Skydance Media and transfer all 28 CBS television station licenses to Larry Ellison and his family, because even if David Ellison is Paramount's new chairman and CEO, It's his dad who's footing the bill, alongside the private equity company Redbird. And it's dad who has Trump's ear too. Also, as part of this agreement, David Ellison pledged to abandon all diversity, equity, and inclusion programs at Paramount. This is just a ton of power to be in one family, and it puts Larry Ellison in the growing ranks of billionaire big tech execs who own major media companies, while Trump cuts funding for public broadcasting. But I'm sure nothing's going to go wrong giving more power to the guy who once said citizens will be on their best behavior because we're constantly recording and reporting everything that's going on. Or who suggested that the government unify all the national data to be put into a database and feed it to AI. But at least Larry Ellison can now continue to support his passions, like hanging out on his private island and racing his yachts. I'm not even kidding. He owns an island in Hawaii, and he's been heavily involved in yacht racing for decades and has won several major competitions, including the America's Cup twice, as the owner of Oracle Team USA, of course.
My brother, I hope you're good. Your phone's off. I'm hoping that you're okay. Just with your past, you know. Want to check on you because it wasn't normal not hearing from you for a bit. But, you know the laundromat you and I met at? If you get a chance, go by there today. Now I am erasing studios and putting mine and my music business squarely on the map. Thank you, Guy. Man, he told me to make magic. Boy, did we ever together. If you get a chance, go by there today because it's a blank billboard. Remember the night Universal kept advertising every month? Well, that billboard's now in my possession, that vinyl for Halloween Horror Nights. Hey, Rue, I got a black canvas coming for you. See you soon in Boyle Heights. At the Oblivion Castle. The church. Hi, Toyota. Toyota, you owe Bruce Chang a new Tacoma. Broad daylight, by the way. Broad daylight. Ruben dropped his hat. I mean, Guy. Give up your vows. Safety first, ladies and gentlemen. Save our city. Hey, Hollywood Bowl. The chosen ones of Love Street would love to play the Hollywood Bowl. This man's gonna introduce them. Hi. And by the way, one of our artists is named Karma.
My name's Guy.
And Guy, who invested in me and told me to make magic, he and I just made magic by quite literally erasing Hollywood and killing two birds with one, well, act of rebellion. And sometimes art is an act of rebellion.
I just want a donut and coffee.
I can give you a donut and coffee. Hi, James Gunn. Hey, Mr. Gunn, after witnessing all this, you think I'm playing? You better show up for the launch of the Troy DeVold Network and launching the foundation in honor of Troy, who you once knew, left behind. Same way I just left Hollywood behind. You better show up, or I'm gonna go take a Peacemaker billboard down and do something special with it too. I told you I'm not in the Hollywood film industry anymore, so come find me. Yeah. When I sign my directing deal at Paramount, the first movie I want to make is The Bird. Tell a story of a man who was on the cover of Rolling Stone magazine as the only baseball player to ever do it, one of the few athletes ever. And I want Johnny Weston, who I helped in his life and he helped me in mine, star in this movie. Johnny, man, come a long way since that meeting at the Chateau Marmont, bro. We both superheroes now in real life. Can't wait to see you. Been calling you. You better hit me back, man. You better hit me back, Johnny. Remember Ruben? Funniest characters have shown up to help me towards the end of this journey, bro. Joey Stanton, you're the greatest manager in the world. So you give me some Hollywood meetings, but as a music business entrepreneur, where I'm building an empire connected to Gen Z talent that you represent, Mr. Stanton. Thanks for guiding me, Joey. Britton Hine, thanks for coming in at the end of this, for where this is about to go next. I appreciate you guys. Oh. Heads up. Calm, cool, and collected. Do I look like somebody who's walking in fear right now? Or do I look like somebody who's changing the entire course of modern film history without being in the film industry anymore? It took me building a village. But man, did I ever... God, Waymo. It's just Waymos now driving everywhere. I have really done something special. Oh, how funny is this? I'm wearing a biopic, or I'm doing a biopic on the guy who's on my shirt, the bird. Look what's right here. You talk about going viral. The bird, the bird. A bird's the word, a bird's the word. Mark the Bird Fitterich went viral before viral was a word. His family still has a cute little place to eat at in Massachusetts. I got to go and spend time there when I was with my boys, Eric Bennett and John Ross. You see two of the creators I got to stay with. After I went on the road to put together the Canyon Country deal, prior to that, I had talked to all of these creators about what I was doing with Paramount. They all got involved in my crazy vision and ideas, man, because they believe, they're like, man, if this kid can even do remotely half of what he's saying he could do, then I mean, even a smidgen of that was going to make a difference. Well, I did it all, every bit of it. And now the men and women that were behind showing me kindness, they're the stories that make up the stage play that's going to be from four-time Tony winner Bruce D. Long, Jay Ivey, and several other iconic individuals, and directed by my guy David McClendon, the one person that can guide me to the finish. But you know what? James Gunn, I remember when you were making PG porn trying to be seen, and Troy was working on that with you. Now, I'm erasing your legacy off this billboard. You had a billboard here. I'm sure you knew about it. Now I temporarily am borrowing it, and I'm turning it into art. This is about to launch a foundation in the name of the foundation of someone you once knew. Technically, you got the biggest movie out in the world right now, so if you show up, imagine what that does for a bunch of kids in Mississippi. James Gunn, show up with your checkbook, since you just got paid a fortune on Superman and run DC, and write a check with a few zeros and send it to Pineywood School. Better yet, how about you be one of the first people that donates to the GoFundMe of Pineywood School and the GoFundMe of my directorial debut, which is a script that was left to me by somebody who I'm sure you sat around and had creative conversations and visionary discussions with one night. You know, the more you progressed in your career, the more Troy fell left behind because he was rotting away in reality TV. I was so close to giving him the platform to where not only he could sit across from you, we had conversations about that, but he could create with you again. So since he can't create with you, how about you help me make a movie called My Fault Moving On in honor of him and his legacy? Because that's what I'm doing. And it's going to launch the Troy DeVold Foundation that's going to set art free ultimately, along with the Lacey McGee Foundation that's going to set sex workers free. I'm done watching people I care about have their legacy stomped and smoked out. This shit's coming down, and so are a few more in the next few days. Now that Hollywood has seen my relationships of all walks of life and how I'm capable of doing quite anything I want, maybe all of you will see me now and take notice that if you continue the tomfoolery with me and my crew, I'm going to keep moments like this alive for the rest of my entire career in music. That's how you launch something that you dreamed, called Dream It, Create It, Live It. I'm going straight to outer space. Hey Elon, you see me now? Hey everybody that doubted me, you see me now? Who does this? I do. He does. My friends do. I said I'd be seen. I said I'd be heard. I got spiders all around me in a web that we all created.
I'm a soldier. We'll make it happen.
Ah, Ruben.
It's go time, bro. We gotta read the 2-minute rule.
Let's get out of here. That's a wrap.
That's a wrap, bud.
That is a wrap on Operation Anonymous, a 1-year plan to erase Hollywood off the map and enter the music industry.
Put that up.
Patience is a virtue, and I have it. Sometimes art is an act of rebellion. I thought this was a vinyl. Turns out it was also a wood. But I said heads would be coming off, and then they literally did. I didn't even know that was going to happen. That's God for you. Walk into a timeline. The bird went viral before viral was a thing. I said I was going to go viral. I told David Ellison, hey, David Ellison, guess what? You're not in the music business. I am. Guess what else? You better come be a freaking guest on my podcast. I'm going to call you out until you show up. Until you see what I got in store for the Naked Gun billboard, David. Just wait until you see what I got in store for the Naked Gun billboard. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Am I finally being seen? Am I finally being heard? Well, I got a lot more of this coming. Erased. That's number 2. Wait till you see what number 3 is gonna be. Service. Giving back. Artists united. Taking down corporate Hollywood. I'm doing it with literal gangsters around me. And I am not somebody to ever be messed with again. And all of you that did and caused mental trauma and abuse in my life, I'm gonna talk about you for the rest of my life on stages. I turned that shit into art. From Cassian Elways to Billy Raftery Jr. to Michelangelo DeLance. I'm gonna talk about all the men, Stephen C. Miller, Adam Goldworm, Lee Scott, formerly Slaughter, James Cotton at the end, Mike Neese, Chris Brads. I got a list a mile long. Steve Carson, Wes Winfrey, Stuart Richardson. Your judgment day is upon you, men. Princess Denise Burkhart, Julia Prina, a few others that I'm gonna save for when the lights are on me. Your judgment days are upon you too, ma'ams. People need to know what people get put through in a business that just chews up human beings like they're dollars and just spits them out the other end and no one cares. Oh, great, we have an in memoriam at the Oscars, and then people freak out when people are left out. Artists are left out everything every day. They're left out at corporate Hollywood gates. And I'm bringing all those motherfuckers down. Hey, Coca-Cola. This Coke. This Coke's for you. Hey, John Cena. This Coke's for you. How fitting. Same street as the soon-to-be Troy DeVold Venice Beach Public Library. As I go to get on the bus, hey, James Gunn, you better show up for one of your old friends. You need me to keep a hand on this, or you good?
You're all good. Okay. I just got
Hello, world. Lamorne, I'm sorry about this one. You can let your friendly folks that have paid you for your NIL at BMO know that this is going to a good cause. Lamorne, man, I told you, bro, that I wanted you hosting this telethon for Pineywood School. I said it multiple times. Joey knows it. But most importantly, I'm going to book you as my first podcast guest. We're going to talk about how we met. We're going to talk about how Johnny West and you go way back. We're going to talk about you and Joey Stanton. But most importantly, on that podcast, you're going to go in your DMs sent by I Am Clevenger, which I've been locked out on my Instagram, and you're going to read with the freaking date the message that I sent to you that you wrote back to me. Buying Paramount? ? Yes, Lamorne. We should have owned Paramount. And quite frankly, if we owned Paramount, there wouldn't be news today that Warner Brothers is about to be bought now. God's will had people go against it. You, Lamorne, are going to be a hero. You're already one to your daughter. I know that. That was one of the things I loved about you when Joey told me that. Chicago, Illinois, D. Ray Davis, Will Crossley, Jay Ivey, Lamorne Morris. Do I need to keep going? My legacy connected to all of you? Finish the story, walk into God's will, and help me set art free, bro. Or quite frankly, you just as much of a hypocrite as all the people that you make fun of. And by the way, lock your debit card. Y'all should really start locking your fucking billboards better, because I'm going to keep taking them down until everybody shows up.
Hey, well, just hitting you back, man. I'm so happy that you're happy that we're all connected and I connected all of you. All this shit. Hit me back, all right? I just gotta love you.
Hey, Netflix. Every single week until David Ellison shows up to be interviewed on my podcast and sits at the table under the "You Are Here" mirror and sign at the Canyon Country Store on Love Street, and Tommy Bean and I can sit down and have a conversation with Mr. Ellison, I'm gonna only take down Netflix billboards every week, because I've called you out, Netflix, to host a telethon, to give back to artists, to the world, to children, to homelessness, to war victims, things Jerry Lewis used to do. I'm gonna fill that void. And I have Bill Boyd Jr., who's not only an editor but a producer for Jerry Lewis, to direct me on a stage filling that void. I will continue taking down your shitty marketing ads and showing you how to really market a studio, because Lucelle Studios has arrived in Florida in the 352 in Disney's backyard and Universal's, and that shit's my childhood home, my legacy, one where Walt Disney went during times when he didn't employ black individuals and built the legacy. Well, I was born into a legacy there, so what the fuck are any of you gonna do about it? This is called the pre-production scouting for what I'm about to do before the week's over. Hollywood, you about to be my hoe. Here's the key so you can go inside. It's private security.
You have a nice jacket on.
My name's William Potter Clevenger. I raised $13.6 billion to buy the place across the street that these people are trying to tell me I'm arrested for doing something to. Look at me. I'm a 20-year film professional who not only myself, but a girl who's only 27 years old put together that $13 billion offer led by Michael Orsini at Malka Equities. I was then led to Tommy Bina, owner of the Canyon Country Store, where I was able to take the legacy of Jim Morrison and the Doors and turn that into a music business and a hotel group led by Judah Johnson, brother of Jonah, Leo DiCaprio's lifelong friend practically, and Ali Lasky, a publicist. And you know what else? Let's make sure those publicists actually get paid what they're worth. I've been seeing that bus go around about publicity. That's a real thing. Fair pay for PR, hashtag fair pay for PR. But I got a guy who's private security who thinks he's a little more than that, who put his fucking hands on me. And I have several lawyers that will deal with this, man, because I'm a professional. By the way, Spike Lee, I have a signed contract that's almost a year old with Piney Woods School, led by President and CEO William Crossley, who I partnered with to buy freaking Paramount to set not only art free, but children and education free. And I'm going to walk up to this guy, and if he puts his fucking hands on me after I send this video to myself, then we're going to have a problem. I'm going to not only sue Paramount, which I've been trying to have something like this happen for months. It's why I illegally recorded their Mission Impossible movie on my drive-in theater that I have an agreement to buy in the 352, my hometown, where I'm pretty sure the Ocala drive-in is going to be on the map after this. And you know what else? What's your name, my friend? Can't cross the property line, you're not welcome. That's my registered place of address in California. In the 352. What's your name? Who do you work for? No, you're not going to tell me any questions? So what if I call the police on you for harassing me when I'm here in a suit? What's your name? I mean, dude, I walked out here earlier. I looked that up. That doesn't exist on you. That doesn't exist anymore. So, what's your name? Hey, David Ellison, I can't wait till this video goes viral. This guy's lucky that I don't drop my pants and walk towards him. Ooh-wee. Police response times aren't what they used to be. Anyways, it's been a wild ride.
Hi guys, I'm here with Will, and you know what they say, where there's a will, there's a way. And that's just a fact.
Yeah.
I've not met anyone who is so more mercurial and magical and has so many friends from so many walks of life and is able to pull together in a night and unify so much talent and will. Basically, we're here for willpower. And,
I never heard that.
the fact is that a rapper basically took the name before, but Will.I.Am, says it all. So, Will, thank you. I'm honored. Thank you. And let your vision come to pass. As above, so below, and may the human condition find a home and representation with this project that we all pray comes to fruition. Okay? Because we need human beings to stay human and not artificial. Okay? Authentic intelligence.
Check it. I step in with the story of a kid from Mass. Worcester soul, grit in his veins, dreams built to last. Detroit came calling, 76 spring. Green grass, bright sun, a rookie with a quirky fire, talking to the ball, having fun. He manicured that mound, every step a little dance. Fans cried, we want the bird, Detroit's enchanting trance. 19 wins, ERA low. He led the league on fire. All-star start, rookie of the year, hearts lifted higher. From the mound to the magic, from dreams to the film reels. The bird wings forever, legends don't ever lose their fill. 50 years now later, watch the story unfold. A foundation he left behind for kids, got the family's blessing, a legacy so bold. He wasn't just stats, he was soul on display. Every crowd roared louder as he earned his absolute way. From complete games, charisma, the sports shining ray turned a season to a story that people still replay. Then injuries slowed the arm that carved the sky, but no one forgets the kid who let his spirit fly. Though life took a turn a little too soon, his flame keeps burning. A foundation rises where the next generation's learning. From the mound to the magic, from dreams to the film reels, the bird wings forever. Legends don't ever lose their fill. 50 years later, watch the story unfold. A foundation he left behind for kids, got the family's blessing, a legacy so bold. This ain't just baseball, yeah, this is emotion and heart. A life lived splashing joy like waves upon the ocean. Now the screen will shine that wonder, color every single line, from teenage fire in 76 to hearts that will withstand the test of time. We salute the bird, not just a name in history, but a spark that lit belief and lives internally. Raise your voice, drop this tell into the air. The bird's about to be back in flight, and you're all gonna feel it everywhere. Mr. Reed Hastings, Mr. Ted Sarandos, I've got a story that rings true. The approval from Major League Baseball. Yeah, that's right. Not only that, I've got a vision that's out of sight. I want to say action and cut to honor the 50th anniversary of a legend so bright. He put himself on the map. Legacies can't be erased. Just like WPC, that's me, will forever be echoed on the site of Paramount in nothing but grace. I intended to direct the biopic on Mark the Bird Fidrich once we owned Paramount Studios, Mr. Ted Sarandos. Since that did not happen, and since it's the 50th anniversary, and since I had the blessing of his family, a script that's basically a period piece movie, I know how to make films on a budget because I line produced for years before I became an A-list producer with a movie that was on Netflix that was a #1 release that you guys have now brought back to the platform called Cutthroat City. If need be, I could even show up with some of the funding for this. But I want my directorial debut to be the biopic on Mark the Bird Fidrich. It's ready. I've got the approval for Major League Baseball for the last few years. Eric Bennett and John Ross, the two writers of this amazing IP, we already scouted all of the locations, not only in Massachusetts, but in Detroit. I literally connected with basically the Detroit Police Department that owned the old stadium that the Bird used to throw pitches in. It's now a rec league for cops. I've got their blessing to film there. And I even connected with somebody whose fiance was about to become one of the main higher-ups in the Detroit Police Department. So I have an executive producer on this movie that's literally a Detroit cop. Also, I'm going to film some scenes at Pineywood School in Mississippi to use this movie as an educational tool. I want to cast Mark Wahlberg as the Bird's father. I want Johnny Weston, who starred for Paramount in Project Almanac and opposite Gerard Butler in Chasing Mavericks, to play the Bird. If he doesn't agree to do it, then maybe it'll be Taylor John Smith or maybe somebody else. Regardless, I've got a vision. And my manager, Joey Stanton, I'm already saying in this video, but by the time you watch this, this has all been sent to you. I've also built quite the music career based on what I had to walk through in my life as it related to going up against not only the power elite, but corruption from the President of the United States. And I made music about all that. I wrote a poetry book about it all. It's now public. You're seeing that on the screen. And there's not a bigger filmmaker in the world than me moving forward, because no other film director on planet fucking Earth raised $13.6 billion to buy a fucking movie studio and was left unseen, unheard, and in the fucking dark. As you can see, I've been working on putting that behind me. It left some great trauma in my life that led me to being homeless, and that I spent the last 2 years walking out of. But I'm ready to stand on a movie set and say action and cut. This film, Mr. Sarandos and Mr. Hastings, will be produced by David Womark, Academy Award nominated producer of The Life of Pi, and Larry Franco, whose son played Major League Baseball in a World Series while they were making Jurassic Park 3, David and Larry. And Larry, Jay Franco, his movies have made $3 billion. So that should give you enough insight into exactly what I've got lined up behind me. And because it's a story about Massachusetts, the other producer on the movie is going to be John Schneider, who's produced a film or two that have opened in theaters. And the other producer's Joey Stanton. And the final one is Jerry Easter, Mr. Sarandos, whose son is the starting point guard, one of them, for the men's USC basketball team, where, you know, David Ellison went to school at USC. And last time I checked, only 2 men in the world have battled him to own a movie studio. And their names are Ted Sarandos and, well, William Potter Clevenger. But back then I was known as William Clevenger. And I'm forever now WPC, filmmaker, music producer, and writer extraordinaire. Goodbye.
The last 2 years, They didn't come with applause. They came with concrete nights, with hunger that wasn't just physical, with silence loud enough to argue with God. I chased a dream I thought was destiny. I thought ownership meant validation. I thought if I could just touch the mountain, stand on it, plant my flag, that it would finally say, you belong here, but that wasn't my calling. I lost shelter chasing the wrong summit, thinking paramount was the prize when legacy was the work, thinking power was the goal when protection was the assignment, thinking my name needed to be owned when it needed to be given. Homelessness humbles you, it strips the noise from ambition, it teaches you the difference between being seen and being trusted. Because when you have nothing, you find out what you're actually carrying. And what I was carrying was custodianship. I was led not to conquer, but to protect, to stand watch over art, over education, over children who haven't been named yet, by systems that profit off silence. I am here to be a voice for the voiceless, for those without a platform, without access, without the connections I was born with and almost wasted. I don't want my voice to hurt people. I wanted to hold them, to open doors that were welded shut before they ever had a chance to knock. I will stand in truth until the end of time, because it's the only place I live. You can't look at me, you can't look at this work, you can't look at the endless content created day after day, night after night, and say this was fake. You don't fake hunger, you don't fake conviction, you don't fake sacrifice that costs you comfort, reputation, safety, and sleep. I live in truth 24/7, even when it hurts, especially when it hurts. And yes, there were moments I felt unseen, moments I wondered if I had failed the very trust God placed on my shoulders. But I see it now. It wasn't rejection, it was redirection. It's time to set WPC free, it's time to set children free, it's time to set art free. I took down billboards not to be destructive, not to be criminal, not for attention. I took them down because I was led to. Those billboards were monuments to corporate spending, the money made on the backs of artists who never owned their own faces. Now they're being given to a global muralist, turned into canvases, turned into inheritance, so the next generation of children can rise on what once exploited them. Marketing dollars become murals, consumption becomes creation, extraction becomes elevation. That's the reversal. And I will continue to rise for the rest of my life, for Troy DeVoe, for Lacey Page Muggy, for my brother Melvin, for the Reiner family, for every soul harmed by evil that hid behind contracts. Power and silence, we are not in a playground. For the power league, to trade lives like board pieces and call it strategy. This is not a game, this is not chess, this is not Monopoly with human collateral. This ends now, this ends forever. Spontaneous evolution will rise, not through permission, but through purpose. A collective will form a family, a movement. They will be called the chosen ones of Love Street. And they won't fight over turf, they will tend the garden. They won't hoard resources, they will plant them. They won't silence truth, they will amplify it. We will not be erased, we will not be edited down. We will not be intimidated by mountains built to look untouchable. Because we didn't need a paramount to do this. We just needed faith, we just needed truth, we just needed the courage to stand when kneeling was easier. Set us free, set WPC free, set children free, set art free.
Oh yeah, and one last thing. It's the 50th anniversary this summer of when the bird became the biggest thing in pop culture and pretty much media. Before media was just a poster a click away. People had to actually go find people. Well, that's why I want to make this movie now, because it's timely. 50th anniversaries are everything, and I can cast the shit out of this in a manner that pretty much nobody outside the names of Spielberg, Del Toro, Snyder, or, you know, people in that caliber are walking into Netflix with IP. I also want an overall Joe at Netflix. I want that to be my home forever, so I can sit on stages and talk about basically the legacy I created by trying to buy Paramount, and instead decided to partner with the only other studio in the world that knows what it's like to deal with that family and all of their power elite bullshit. Goodbye. The last 2 years didn't come with applause. They came with concrete nights, with hunger that wasn't just physical, with silence loud enough to argue with God. I chased a dream I thought was destiny. I thought ownership meant validation. I thought if I could just touch the mountain, stand on it, plant my flag, that it would finally say, you belong here inside these gates. But that wasn't my calling. I lost shelter chasing the wrong summit, thinking Paramount was the prize when legacy was the real work. Thinking power was the goal when protection was nothing but the assignment. Thinking my name needed to be owned when it needed to be given. Homelessness has a way of humbling you. It strips the noise from the ambition. It teaches you the difference between being seen and being trusted. Because when you have nothing, you find out what you're actually carrying. And what I was always carrying was nothing but custodianship. I was led not to conquer, but to protect. To stand watch over art, over education, legacies, over children who haven't been named yet, but systems that profit off silence. Those are the worst things on planet Earth. I'm here to be a voice for the voiceless, for those without a platform, without access, without the connections I was born with and almost wasted. I don't ever again want my voice to hurt people. I wanted to hold them, to open doors that were welded shut before they ever had a chance to knock. I will stand in the forever truth until the end of time, because that's the only place that I now live. You can't look at me, you can't look at this work, you can't look at the endless content created day after night, day after day, night after night, day after night, and say that it was all fake. You don't fake hunger, you don't fake conviction, you don't fake sacrifice that costs you comfort, reputation, safety, your career, and sleep. I live in truth 24/7 when it hurts, especially when it hurts. And yes, there were moments I felt unseen, moments I still do, moments I wondered if I had failed the very trust that God had placed on my shoulders. But I see it all now clear as day. It was never rejection, it was always redirection. It's time to set WPC free. It's time to set children free, and it's time to set art free. I took down billboards not to be destructive, not to be criminal, not for attention. I took them down because I was led to them. Those billboards were monument. Those billboards, they were monuments to corporate spending, to money made off the backs of artists who never owned their faces. Now they're going to be given to global muralists, turned into canvases, turned into inheritance, so the next generation of children can rise on what once exploited them. Marketing dollars become murals. Consumption becomes creation. Extraction becomes elevation. That's the real reversal. And I will continue to rise for the rest of my life. For Troy DeVold, for Lacey Page McGee, for my brother Melvin, for the Reiner family, for every soul that's been harmed by evil from a business that rots away at people, that hid behind contracts, power, and silence. It's done. We're not in a playground for the power elite to trade lives like board pieces and call it a strategy. This is not a game. This is not chess anymore. This is not Monopoly with human collateral. This ends. This ends now. This ends forever. Spontaneous evolution will rise, not through permission, but through purpose. A collective will form, a family, a movement. They will be called the Chosen Ones of Love Street, created by me and many other voices united. And they won't fight over any of the turf. They will tend to the entire garden. They won't hoard the resources, but they will plant them. They won't silence truth, they will amplify it. We will not be erased. I will not be erased. We will not be edited down. I will not be edited down. We will not be intimidated by mountains built to look untouchable. I will never be intimidated because we didn't need a paramount to do this. We just needed faith. We just needed truth. We just needed the courage to stand when kneeling was easier. Set us free. Set WPC free. Set children free. Set art free. Set the bird free. This is the work. This is the calling. And I am WPC forever, and I burn Hollywood the fuck to the ground. They taught us how to guard lines, borders, brands, beliefs. Nobody taught us how to tend a garden. So we fought over dirt while all the roots went thirsty. Tonight we changed that. This is Tend to the Garden, Not the Turf, by the Chosen Ones of Love Street. I watch truth get dressed up as controversy. Watch love get audited, measured, priced. Watch art get told to wait its turn, while trauma got a fast pass in a headline. They said pick a side. I said pick people. I've seen flags waved like weapons and contracts waved like scripture. I've seen mid hide behind legacy while children paid the interest for those men. But the soil always remembers. Every seed knows what it was born to be. If we stop fighting over shadows, we might see the sun again. If we stop guarding empty kingdoms, we might learn how to mend. So we tend the garden, not the turf. We build the table, not the wall. No chosen few, just chosen ones when love decides to answer the call. We tend the garden, not the turf. Let the old lies finally burn. If heaven's watching how we live, let it see us all learn. I've stood inside rooms where power whispered you made it, but my spirit said you survived. There's a difference. I've seen survivors turn into footnotes, seen truth get buried under good for business, seen silence sold as peace and compliance dressed as grace. But grace isn't quiet, grace interrupts. Grace flips the tables and then says to clean up the mess. We tend the garden, not the turf. No more blood for branding rights. We lay the weapons in the dirt and water them with life. We tend the garden, not the turf. Every seed gets room to grow. If love is the revolution, this is where it all starts to show. We're not here to win arguments. We're here to heal futures. And that takes dirt under your nails. Spontaneous Evolution is a book that changed my life. It's got quotes on it from many important people that are spiritual leaders on this earth. But it led me into consciously finally waking up after many, many years of being asleep. This song is inspired by that book. That book, I want to literally tell the story of it all. Every chapter read by celebrities on a platform called Netflix. And that book has become the core foundational infrastructure behind the LoveOLution Movement. And well, there's a Zoom call about that's 4 hours with many leaders and many voices that are not just my own. It can be found on Share Coke with Will on YouTube. And I've been planning something for a very, very long time to change the course of destiny of our world forever. Bruce Lipton and Steve Behrman wrote that book. Bruce Lipton's been talking about a moment like this in time. And guess what? That's what the book is about. A collective mass of people called Big Picture World Group now. Bruce just didn't have a name for it. Coming together to tend to the garden and to America and to the whole world instead of fighting over it. Donald J. Trump, your racist, bigoted-led mindset and reign is over. My name is William Potter Clevenger, and your judgment day on earth has fucking come. When I was in the middle of doing what I was doing back in 2025. After uniting with a bunch of artists all around the world to put together an ownership group to make a failed attempt at acquiring Paramount, where myself and other artists raised $13.6 billion cash to all unite together from all walks of life, from film, from music, from the world of politics, but not the right connections in politics, all the way down to people in philanthropy, people in tech, to go toe-to-toe with the wealthiest family in the world who operate from a place of huge power. I ended up, during that journey, becoming homeless. I gave up my life, what I thought was a life. I gave up a very beautiful apartment on Venice Beach that, while I would fall behind at points on paying the rent of it, I always caught up, was able to keep it, because I was walking in not only a life for a 20-year film career that I was not supposed to be living, I was walking in and out of a path at points that was going against the creator of the universe's alignment. And on that journey, after being homeless, which technically I still am, and you see, a home is something that one works to basically provide for themselves. But sometimes even a home that one has is out of alignment. Basically, I could talk about this endlessly, and I have in the broadcast that this opens what's now called the LoveOLution Movement. So people can hear me talk about that. They can also hear me talk about how I was around the world of sex work, how I was around literally women that I never paid any money to, but always got behind me in my dreams, because these were women that I didn't meet through pursuing them in the world of sex work. They just happened to be in it. You see, God led me to people on this earth in the same manner like the story we read about in the Bible. We are all the story of the Bible, but we're too caught up in our lives being out of alignment that we don't look at our lives in that manner. When I was finally able, during the month of February 2025, to get to a place, thanks to my friend Harris Masterson, of being able to temporarily move into a apartment, I spent, when I was able to temporarily move into that apartment, I'm usually not at a loss for words, but I'm trying to get all this out. Across from that apartment was one of these, a little free library. You see, this is a wonderful nonprofit that puts up reading centers outside of people's homes. And well, I got books out of a couple of these that I found along the way from wandering around the streets of Los Angeles and other things. And one of those books was called How Many People Does It Take to Change the World? 1. You see, I got that book outside of the little library that was in the garage that I was living in on Love Street, where I was led to meet a guy named Tommy Bina, who's been the custodian of legacy at the Canyon Country Store and Music. And you see, I had never actually been to Love Street. And had I not been caught up in being out of alignment in my life, I would have been consciously awake to take the woman who not only is a proud supporter of the LGBTQ community, but the woman who led that bid to make an attempt at acquiring Paramount to the forefront, because she never wanted to be in the film industry. She only ever wanted to be in the music industry, and her favorite artist was the American poet by the name of Jim Morrison, who started the Doors. And you see, he lived on Love Street in a very different manner than I did. And you see, at points when I was homeless, I'd live out of my car, but then when I was living in this garage on Love Street with someone I was introduced to by the woman that connected me with Daphne Ziman, who's the co-chair of the group that raised the money to buy Paramount, my car got towed. So then I had to walk everywhere, where before that I was driving. You see, God forced me into situations. In that book that I found, How Many People Does It Take to Change the World? Right when I was walking up to literally get it after seeing it the day before, a woman named Marcia, who's a school teacher at Wonderland in Los Angeles, came to grab it. We had a whole conversation. I talked to her because that was the name of this woman who's important to me in my life. And she said that she came there to get that book to give it to me. And she had just met me. I found many places in LA to charge my phone at when I was homeless. And one of them was Cedars-Sinai Hospital over on La Cienega in Wilshire. And I got off a bus on March 3rd, the night of the Oscars, when Flo won Best Animated Film. And I got off at a bus in Koreatown because I was filming a lookbook for a movie that I wanted to direct. The reboot of Big Trouble in Little China, and They Live. And I randomly was filming somebody doing weird stuff on the bus and decided I was going to get off and follow him and film him. And I didn't realize that this night of March 3rd after midnight, so it was midnight March 3rd, but it was a little later than midnight. You see, it was 3:33 in the morning. And I got off in Koreatown, a place where the person that helped me lead forward that bid to buy Paramount used to work. After we got engaged, she worked in Koreatown because I was out of alignment in my life. A life that I had taken her out of something in it. And you see, I didn't realize that the Hollywood stars on the Walk of Fame, there's another star. There's one for Jesus Christ. And it's in Koreatown in front of a church. But you know, when you don't plan to get off a bus on 3-3 at 3:33 in the morning and end up seeing where it's in a timestamp photo, not planned, the star of Jesus Christ, and you spent a 20-year career in Hollywood, and you recently, a year before you saw that star, got baptized at a church in Compton where you confessed all of your sins, like being around the world of sex work, to your pastor. And then you get dipped in the water on January 21st, 2024, to where literally less than 2 months later, you get offered a partnership at a 116-year-old legacy school of education in Piney Woods, Mississippi, to shake hands and form a partnership to build a movie studio at the school. You start questioning things in your life once you start reflecting on all those things. Because you see, when I was going through all that, I was still out of alignment. And I was out of alignment when I used that partnership for the school to make an attempt to buy Paramount. Instead of using everybody that I got involved in a bid to buy Paramount to help uplift that school that the creator of the world led me to shaking hands on. Now, rounding this back, because I've been talking here for about 9 minutes and I'm trying to keep track of time now because directors need to be on schedule. The other important book that I got out of one of these was across from the place that I was finally able to move into in February, where across the street lived a guy by the name of Craig Dimmel, who now works for James Cameron. But back then, he was the head of global distribution at IMAX. And I brought him in at the end of it to the Paramount deal on the day when David Womark was at the DGA honoring Ang Lee with a Lifetime Achievement Award for a movie that David had produced called Life of Pi. And you see David was the other main primary artist in trying to attempt to acquire Paramount. He sat next to me and Steve Bellamy, then the president of Kodak, and Les Garland, the former co-founder of MTV, at that dinner where we united together, all of those people. But I've come to understand that that dinner was like a last supper for me, because that was the ending of killing the character, God killing me, that I had played on TV in real life. Because in the little library that was at Craig's that day, I pulled out the biography on Elon Musk. And that day, I realized I was supposed to connect with somebody to write the biography on the path that I had walked in trying to buy Paramount. And the day that I took that book out was the day that I finally got to have a Zoom call with two men whose book that they wrote I also found in a little free library when I was also filming the lookbook, like when I got off at the Star of Jesus Christ. And I opened the doors after following around a guy that was taking out garbage, cleaning up trash. And I opened one of these, just like this. And I reached in, I saw a book that said Spontaneous Evolution. And I pulled that book out. And I started reading it. And then I realized, oh my God, this book is not only about creation of the world and biology and science, but this book is about what somebody by the name of WPC and somebody by the name of SEB were connected by the creator of the world that we live in to walk forward into doing a spontaneous evolution where somebody overnight can wake up to finally being in alignment, can become not only a creator, but spontaneously can evolve to lead forward a group of individuals to tend to the garden of earth rather than fighting over the turf. World, this isn't only spontaneous evolution. This is Trump isn't God, states of consciousness in a fractured America. And well, this is also the chosen ones of Love Street and a whole lot more. I'm going to play a little song for you, come back and talk about what this book is in my hand. And then I'm going to wrap this up with a testimony about a dear friend of mine who grew up on the right when I grew up on the left. This is my childhood home front yard, and art and records outlive presidencies. Power loves a microphone, but history loves a receipt. And every empire forgets who pressed record. They said the pen was secondary to the hand on the wheel, but every throne I watched crumble, started shaking when it felt. Ink stains longer than terms, stone cracks under applause. Every promise dressed in marble still bows to time and flaws. I seen kings rent future like it wasn't overdue. but the song kept notes on everything they try to undo. Art don't flinch when the lights go low. Records spin when the lies get old. Crowds get heavy, names erode. But the truth, Donald J. Trump, still hums in a minor mode. I've watched fear wear confidence like couture stitched in gold. Watched truth get called divisive just for daring to be whole. But melodies remember what speeches try to bend. That's why power hates a chorus. It don't know where it ends. You can silence one voice. You can shutter one room. But a song learns how to breathe. Then it multiplies the absolute wound. You can edit the footage. You can try to rewrite the page. But you can't erase the feeling and memories. They age. Once it survives, it's forever. Art outlives the moment. Records outlive the crown. Every empire's just a verse that the beat eventually drowns. Names fade from the marble. Dates fall off the wall. But the truth, pressed in a rhythm, still answers the call. This ain't about one name, one term, one headline. This is about what's left when the Trump motorcade disappears and the slogans stop rhyming. This is proof we were awake and we didn't look away. Art outlives the moment. Records outlive presidencies long after power forgets itself. The song remembers we played it loud in the quiet. Let it scar, let it stay. Every truth set to music, learn how to outlive a day. In the end, art remembers, records testify, and love conquers any president. This has been the Chosen Ones of Love Street, and we just cemented your legacy from my front childhood home, Mr. President. Fuck you.
Will.
David, I'm sitting here. Oh, I'm beyond blessed because we're finally in the activation side of all this.
Fabulous.
I'm sitting next to my mom. I'm going to try Esai with you on the phone and call him real quick, but not for the movie that you and I are directing, but for the global telethon that you, myself, and several others are directing, that I want Esai to be one of the main hosts of, because he did all this, because the telethon is being produced by Project Rise partners. Every single member that I have, Mercedes and Coca-Cola, that are coming on board to give me an RV where I'm going to sit next to my friend Martin Kleba, who literally suffers from a disability of dwarfism, because I have a nonprofit already that I sit on the board of called Action Through Action, that's going to produce literally the book Spontaneous Evolution into a global impact event presented by Coca-Cola, Mercedes, and a whole lot of other brand partners. And that's going to air live on our streaming platform, because I didn't have to buy one, I already own one. And you see what happened. I called Barry Levine, who's also producing this global event with us, who produced Oblivion, starring Tom Cruise and Morgan Freeman. And David Ellison finally committed the ultimate sin directed at me to biology connected to me, when somebody that wanted to see me win got on the phone with him, and the words, no, don't believe anything you're reading or seeing. My daddy said he's going to take care of all of it and make sure it's given to us. Well, only one thing can give that to them, and that's God. And he committed a sin, in my opinion, worse than murder. And I've come to lead to be that being true, because Danny Falcone, who was part of the Lucchese crime family, who killed 7 people, was one of the people that built all this with me. So which sin's worse, greed or the act of something that's designed into the world by God?
I'm not even going to try to answer that one.
Because nobody can, but I've got a group of people that literally have walked in something that shines a big, bright spotlight right on it. And not only that, David Ellison also made another sin when he tried to seek out Donald Trump in the one place he thought he could pin him down. And that was when Trump and Elon went with RFK to watch our business partner have a fight in the UFC and Michael Chandler. And literally, what David Ellison didn't know, I've been filming a documentary produced by Project Rise Partners that now he inserted himself in. Oh, by the way, the license plate in front of us says Murder 1, as I told you that. Just for the record, it says Murder with an A. So basically, David Ellison showed up the middle of April to a UFC event where I was filming. And the guy fighting in the ring, the modern gladiator sport known as the UFC, where all the crooked people sit around and watch literally the people get beat up in the ring, just like the old days that we read about in books.
Yeah, just like the Romans.
Yep. Well, David Ellison and Elon Musk have one thing in common. The judge that's currently presiding over Project Rise, suing him with the New York pension funds as our partner in Delaware court, the same judge that threw out Elon's massive payout, is literally deciding whether or not the Ellison family received Paramount. And now I've got a big bright spotlight that I get to shine right on corporate greed and legacy corruption.
Karma's a bitch, man.
Karma's a bitch. And the lead actor of their movie, well, is going to be starring in ours.
Indeed.
So let me try Isai. I'm not even talking about all that other stuff. This is purely focused on the telethon. To ask him if he would like to be a global partner and host, along with Chris Brown and a bunch of other people involved, including Chris Pratt. And then maybe we could talk a little bit about our movie that we're making, you and I, together.
Okay, I'll follow your lead.
Okay, 1 second. I think he'll pick up. If not, I'm going to leave a message and he'll call us back.
Okay.
Isai, hello. I am calling. It's Will Clevenger and David McClendon.
Hey, how are you?
Amazing.
Hey,
I'm also sitting next to my mom in person. You talked to her on FaceTime once.
Yes. I'm sorry, I can barely hear you because I'm in con right now. So
congrats. Thank you for picking up. I'm calling you about the global telethon that I've got Mercedes and Coke lined up to sponsor for our charitable impact and our foundation, Action Through Action. Chris Pratt's going to be involved in this, Chris Brown, a bunch of global figures, including Michael B. Jordan, who I've known for 20 years. We wanted you to be one of the hosts of this. David and I are directing and producing with other award winners. And I have a deck that's being finished that I'm going to email to you. If you'll text me your email, because I don't have it, I don't believe, because we've always just talked on the phone. And that video that you recorded with me at Yamashiro's led to all of this, because Project Rise Partners are the producers of the telethon. And we all change the world together. And this has nothing to do about making money. It's about doing something to give money back to the world to help change it.
I hear you. I want to be able to give it some full attention, so do send me what you can, because I'm right now my brain is a little fried.
I understand.
All the running around that we're doing. So and David, I haven't seen Clinton in so long. Oh my God, it's been a while. But such a long time. But when I get back to LA, I think we can have a better conversation. But right now, I've got to run. I got people waiting on me. But I was like, I saw the number. I said, I knew it's somewhere from somewhere. So
thank you for
I want to
picking
say
up.
Hello and tell your mom I said.
She's right here.
Hello. Hi. How are you?
Hi, sweetheart. I'm well, and I'm just a little nostalgic. I wish my mom was still with us. You're both lucky to have each other. So.
I got to spend his birthday and Mother's Day with him this past week.
You both made out there, so that's great. It's perfect. Thank you.
Isai, congrats on having the #1 movie in America before it's number one.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
God bless. And great work, man. Great work. You seen it? You saw it? I saw the first one. Oh my God! Yeah, this one's going to be more interesting even. So, thank you. Let me know what you think when you see it. All right.
Thank you, Isai.
Right.
Thanks for picking up, man.
Go, but God bless you.
God bless you, brother. Bye.
Keep up the good work. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Hey, David, we're still on. You there?
Yeah.
Well, there we go.
And you do have his email address.
I do. I know. I remembered we sent him an email. So
right.
I'm flowing in real time right now, and it's been a lot to process today of how this is all connecting together.
Well, I'm here to help.
I know you are. There's a Zoom call this evening at 8 p.m. focused around the Jackson 5 IP, because I have 74 unreleased Jackson 5 tracks and the streaming rights that we own of the CBS series. So that's all part of our telethon, literally broadcasting live from all of the land that we already own.
Sweet.
That's going to host this telethon, and all of that is being finished in a deck called Canyon Country Coca-Cola. Mercedes and Malka Equities present the LoveOLution Festival. And we're done.
Wonderful.
So tonight you'll meet all the partners that you've heard me talk about. Bruce Long, who sits on a charity with Dan Lin, who runs Netflix, who will be our broadcast partner. And I'm changing the world. And I think I already told you this, but you see, everybody's got to know it before I let the world know it. I am a bisexual man. I always have been due to biology, because my mom wanted to have a girl and I wasn't born one, and she had 2 names picked out. And I've connected life together in a manner few. I'm not gay. I've kissed men with Sydney, who was my fiance, and I am proud in who I am and how I walk. And it was literally shaped this way by God for me to change the world. You see, a lot of people think that it's a choice that's made, but none of this I chose.
No.
So
Yeah, man.
I'm an independent party, and I'm proud of who I am. And I'm also going to be directing something that shines a big, bright spotlight on myself and gets Donald Trump's attention. So you're going to be really proud of how I put all these pieces of the puzzle together, and we're going to talk about them all tonight and the actions that are about to follow through our nonprofit, Action Through Action. And between now and next Friday, we will literally be the faces of the global entertainment industry and then some.
Wow, I'm honored.
I am too. Thank you, David.
I'm proud of you. Yeah.
Thank you, brother.
I love it. Life is an amazingly wonderful. Pat, my wife and I were just talking about what an amazing journey.
It really is, man. And
how blessed we are.
We really are. And you see, I feel like all of us, this is why Larry Franco, who produced the original Jumanji, is involved in this. Life is like the movie Jumanji in the book. You go through it, everybody gets to the final level, but most people fail to beat it. So I got led to all the leaders that were on the final level of the life game called Jumanji, which is actually real life. And I was able to stay in something on a global scale because of how important I was being led to build and what I was, to basically help everybody become free at the end of this. Because the one thing that buries us in life is the unknown. And you see, money is the fuel in the unknown, and most people only focus on that. Because of the support I had around me, I was able to have a vision for a full year that was bigger than money. So it eliminated any drive of greed. And we don't understand that when we worry about money every day for a full year, we are committing the act of greed, not what's been taught to us, but worrying about literally God having every day in front of us in control to where we're okay.
Right.
And I had to literally get broken and be homeless even to see and understand that and get through it, operate in a manner for something bigger than myself. So thank you, because you were a guiding oracle in that.
Well, everything happens for a reason. We just have to be aware and listen and pay attention and move forward.
Yes, sir.
And do good work.
Yes, sir.
Do good work and be kind. Kindness is the key to everything.
Peace, love, forgiveness, kindness, the big four.
Following the golden rule.
Thank you, David. Have a blessed day. I'm going to send you this Zoom link.
All right, my friend. Take care.
Bye.
Love you.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye. I got to call Aaron Green, talk to Rocco, then we're done.
Green.
Aaron, I'm sitting next to my mom. I've been in Florida. Everything is finally aligned forward, and it consists of names that you and I literally adore, and global artists to create impact in one moment, literally overnight.
that hasn't been seen since not only Live Aid, but I think this is even bigger than that was. It's all focused on a book called Spontaneous Evolution, brand partners that are going to consist of Mercedes and Coca-Cola and a whole lot more. And it's all happening between now and next Friday. And you remember how when you made that audio recording of Gorilla? Well, I've got a whole bunch of other audio clippings to send you, and you'll be able to catch up on the whole story by just listening to the conversations. And these are all very private, and they're not going to be made public. But we literally can create an audio trailer behind them for the whole world to listen to. It was the group of men and women that were of the positive light that led forward something that was absolutely unbelievable when it was discussed. And that was a group to not only impact the world and buy Paramount through, but to literally impact the world yearly with the LoveOLution Festival to change everything slowly through the design of creation. Thanks for believing in me and being there when I wanted to take my life. And thanks for always showing up on the other side of that for Sid as well. We're friends until the end of time, and we're going to leave a legacy behind that generations are going to follow. I love you, bro. Call me. I want you to meet my mom.
Oh yeah, and one last thing. This was the shirt that I wore when I took down the very first billboard. Universal Studios Halloween Horror Nights. Above the laundromat that I met Sebastian Saad at. I just got one thing to say. Donald Trump, Amazon, Jeff Bezos, sexual predator Brett Ratner, and Melania Trump, you guys are all so lucky that I'm not in Los Angeles, because if I was, I would own in my possession a Melania Trump billboard. That shit would be mine, and I would do something so special with it. I would have gladly and happily and easily taken down a Melania billboard, done a big mural on the back of it, and donated it to charity. Hey Melania, do you realize that your movie is going to be one of the biggest box office flops in the history of Hollywood? I guess welcome to Hollywood. First thing you set out to make and produce is going to be a colossal failure. And you see, that's what happens when you have a sexual predator. You know what's a really bad look? When your husband, Donald Trump, has been convicted of sexual misdeeds, and then you go and you allow a man who was removed from his post at Warner Brothers to literally direct the documentary on you, a woman, a guy who is literally not only in hundreds of search results of Epstein emails, just like your husband, but straight up is known in Hollywood circles as somebody who dances in the dark with sexual behavior. And hey, guess what, Ratner? Barry Levine was involved in this journey with me at a couple points along the way, but I decided to remove him from this group because he dances in the dark as well. And Barry, I'll keep that private, but hey, Barry Levine, if you don't show up and let the world know that you were part of this with me, maybe I'll include in the book that I wrote on all of the dark shit that I saw in Hollywood, text messages and emails from you that you sent me this past summer, Barry. How about them apples? Am I being seen now? Am I being heard? Also, I'd like to know, Mr. Ellison, how you think it's okay to greenlight a movie at Paramount being directed by Brett Ratner. Just because he makes a documentary with the president involved doesn't mean that Hollywood is gonna, last time I checked, Weinstein's in jail. So why you letting Brett Ratner come through? Also, by the way, hey Steve Tisch, Michael Sloan, who created The Equalizer, is a friend of mine. And since you like to pay young women for sex, and since you wrote emails asking if they're a civilian or a professional, I've started a foundation to free women from sex work in the manner that you used to conduct yourself in. It's called the Lacey Page McGee Initiative. Right now, as your face is on the screen, Steve Tisch, there's also a QR code for the GoFundMe that I launched for the foundation. There's amazing women involved in this. There will be further details when I'm on a stage, either launching this telethon forward with Netflix or maybe even Paramount Plus. But hey, Steve Tisch, I would appreciate it, since you spent God knows how much money in your life since you've been a single man for some time on literally paying not only civilians for sex, but also professionals. I'd appreciate it, Steve Tisch, if you would go and donate to the Lacey Page McGee Initiative. Because men like you are the problem in not only Hollywood, but corporate everything. I don't think you should own the New York Giants anymore. As a matter of fact, I think you should literally resign from being involved in them, because after Jeffrey Epstein was convicted of sex trafficking, you are still maintaining a relationship with him. There's emails from you from 2012 to 2017. Years of knowing somebody was convicted on sex crimes and you still associated with them. That makes you a deviant piece of shit. By the way, there's a guy named Sean Stellato. I'm sure you know him. He's the agent of Tommy DeVito, who used to play for you. So we got some mutual relationships in both sports and film. Hey, Michael Sloan, what do you think now of being connected to somebody who was connected to Jeffrey Epstein? I put Michael Sloan's wife in a movie called The Con Is On that was directed by Jimmy Haslam's adopted son, Steve Tisch. I'm sure you know Jimmy Haslam. You're a deviant sexual predator. I'm calling Steve Tisch a sexual predator because he is one, based on those emails. And Jimmy Haslam doesn't know how to not only run a sports franchise, but literally his adopted son's a drug addict. You see, I've written about all this in my book. This is in my book, Mr. Sarandos. I wrote chapters on every single movie that I made, from the famous people that were involved. There's a whole chapter on how I met Elon Musk and went to a party at his house when I was making the movie Submerged, starring Tallulah Riley. Oh yeah, who was also just mentioned in the new batch of Epstein emails. I should talk about Keith Raniere, NXIVM, and how I got recruited to join the NXIVM cult. That was a crazy time period in life. The shit that I've seen, and the shit that I have finally created a path to ending. Hollywood, the facade is over. It's burned the fuck to the ground. I'm gonna make music about all of it and all of you out there in La La Land. The first album, this is the debut of it all. And it's time that we burn that fucking facade of Hollywood down. Steve Tisch, donate to the Lacey Page McGee Initiative. Brett Ratner, donate to the Lacey Page McGee Initiative. Barry Levine, I know you probably don't have any money, but if you do, you should go donate to the Lacey Page McGee Initiative. Oh, by the way, Brett Ratner, Barry Levine said you were one of the worst experiences he ever had with any filmmaker, that you were an ego power-tripping asshole. Prove that he didn't tell me that. Nobody can. Maybe Barry will get on a stage and take a lie detector test with me. It's over. Cut. Bye-bye. Hollywood, my name is William Potter Clevenger. I once had to walk around in your shithole of an industry, and it is absolutely a blessing to have created a whole new way of film moving forward. Goodbye.
But behind the scenes I heard the innocent cry. I saw the powerful break what they promised to save. Swore they were builders, but they dug the grave. Now it's my turn to pull the curtain wide. Let the truth rush in like a rising tide. No more whispers hiding in the dark parade. Strike the match, let it burn the first side. Down. Years of scars they tried to seal in the vault. Buried the pain, never naming the fault. Men and women hurting, pushed out of frame. I'm standing right here, and I'm calling the name. I took down billboards, turned the lies to art. Global hands together, this is where we start. From broken silence to a fearless sound, we're building what lasts when the mask comes down. I'm bringing down the walls, I'm tearing down the gates. No more trauma, no more fear, no more silent face. I've got the truth, I've got the proof, I've got the voice, turn loud. Burn the facade to the ground. I'm not backing down. The truth's a film that will never fade. Every frame sharp, every debt repaid. Receipts and stories they tried to erase. Still breathing fire, still taking space. Through hell or high water, we stand our ground. Foundations of justice, unshaken, unbound. This ends the abuse, this breaks the wall. One light, one match, we change it all. I'm bringing down the walls, I'm tearing down the gates. No more trauma, no more fear, no more silent fate. I've got the truth, I've got the proof, I've got the voice, turn loud. Burn the facade to the ground. I'm not backing down. I'm not backing down. When the lights come up, let the real ones stay. No more shadows deciding who gets saved. From the ashes, something honest is found. Burn the facade and rebuild the ground.
There's also the Sleepy Cat Foundation, where my mom works with animals and we work with veterans, and you're about to see Custodians of Legacy Part 1 that I made this summer before I went back to Los Angeles and built a music business. And this is Gordon. Hey Gordon, look at you. I love animals, I love people, I love everything except for deviant sexual behavior. And it's finally over. Bye, Hollywood. See y'all in the gutter, where deviant a-holes belong.